Charlie Heller cannot shoot a man standing 3 feet away, but days later he will trap one killer inside a glass chamber, drop another from a rooftop pool, and leave a third sitting beside a live bomb. And when he finally reaches the man who murdered his wife, Charlie does something even more terrifying than pulling the trigger. Because here's the twist this movie hides in plain sight. Charlie spends the entire film trying to become a killer. He never needed to. His real weapon was never a gun, it was his ability to understand systems, predict human behavior, and turn ordinary objects into traps. Watch how early the movie tells you this Charlie is restoring a damaged Cessna in his garage. The plane was a birthday present from his wife Sarah. It is broken, unfinished, and unable to fly, just like Charlie will become after losing her. Sarah is leaving for a business trip in London. She asks Charlie to come, but he stays behind because of work.
You can still come, you know.
I can't. There's something I'm trying to untangle at work.
Just this once. Take a risk.
Next time, I promise.
That promise becomes the emotional wound behind everything that follows. There will never be a next time. Charlie works in the CIA's Decryption and Analysis Division. He is not a field agent. He does not fight, shoot, or chase terrorists. He solves puzzles. He notices patterns other people miss. And that detail matters because every major victory later comes from observation rather than physical strength. At headquarters, Charlie meets his friend Jackson O'Brien, a field operative known as the Bear. Jackson looks like the kind of man who belongs in dangerous situations. Charlie does not, but Jackson respects him because Charlie once saved his life using intelligence instead of force. Soon, Charlie receives classified data from a mysterious source called Inquiline. They have communicated for 5 years, but Charlie still does not know who this person really is.
How's the weather in Istanbul?
Nice try.
I'll get there. I like puzzles.
Not as much as I like anonymity.
This conversation sounds playful, but it secretly foreshadows the entire movie. Charlie always believes every mystery can be solved. Then he opens Inquiline's files and discovers something terrifying. His boss, Alex Moore, has been ordering politically motivated drone strikes and disguising them as suicide bombings. Civilians and Allied soldiers were killed, while official reports buried the truth. Charlie has discovered corruption at the highest level of his own agency. But before he can act, Moore brings him to CIA Director Samantha O'Brien. There has been an attack at Sarah's hotel in London.
Your wife has been killed.
No, she's at a conference. We should call her.
Charlie's first reaction is denial. He believes information can fix anything, so his mind searches for another explanation. But surveillance footage confirms that Sarah was taken hostage and murdered by 4 attackers. Charlie returns to an empty house. Sarah's belongings are delivered, and inside her luggage, he discovers a puzzle she bought for him. The puzzle is not just a sentimental object. It represents Charlie himself. He cannot process grief emotionally, so he processes it as a problem that must have an answer. Instead of mourning Sarah, he begins reconstructing her final moments. London has nearly 1 million cameras, and Charlie refuses to believe 4 killers could simply disappear.
This was in London. 947,000 cameras. They drove into traffic.
He hacks security feeds, mobile recordings, police footage, traffic cameras, and audio files. Piece by piece, he discovers what happened. The attackers entered the hotel for an illegal arms meeting. When the deal collapsed, they shot security officers and grabbed hostages to escape. Sarah was taken because she tried to save another person.
They only took Sarah because she tried to save someone else.
This detail explains why Charlie cannot accept her death as random. Sarah died because she chose compassion. Now Charlie chooses revenge. He identifies the 4 attackers. Gretchen Frank is a former Armenian intelligence officer. Mishka Blažić is a Belarusian criminal. Elish is a former South African Special Forces operative. And Horst Schiller is the mastermind who personally killed Sarah. Charlie presents his findings to Moore and Caleb Horowitz. He even reveals Gretchen's exact location in Paris. But their faces expose them. They already knew. Moore claims the CIA is waiting to destroy Schiller's complete network. To him, Sarah's killers are useful pieces in a larger operation. To Charlie, this means the agency has decided that Sarah's life does not matter. During therapy, Charlie finally admits what is really driving him. He blames himself for not going to London. He ignored Sarah's final invitation. He ended their last phone call because he was busy. And now, guilt is disguising itself as justice.
I gave the agency the names of Sarah's killers. They did nothing.
What do you want them to do?
Their job.
But Charlie no longer trusts them to do it. He copies Inquiline's secret files and confronts Moore with evidence of illegal strikes, destroyed hospitals, dead civilians, and murdered allies.
I count more than 1,000 casualties and over 400 civilian fatalities.
Charlie claims he has created a dead man's switch. Unless he enters a code every 5 hours, the files will be sent to journalists. Then he makes his demand.
I don't want you to kill them. I want to kill them myself.
Henderson arrives, but an operative secretly sent by Samantha attacks him. Henderson survives the fight, while Charlie escapes. Caleb traces Davies, contacts Russian intelligence, and sends an FSB team after them. Davies is shot during their escape. Her death forces Charlie deeper into the same pattern that began with Sarah. Every loss becomes another reason to continue. Before dying, Davies had arranged contact with Elish by pretending to sell him missiles. Charlie finishes her plan. In Romania, he traps Elish with a laser-triggered explosive and forces him to reveal that Schiller operates from a yacht near Primorsk. Charlie takes his phone and begins walking away. Elish begs him to deactivate the device.
You jump really fast, you might survive the blast.
The bomb explodes. This is the darkest point in Charlie's transformation. Gretchen's death was accidental. Mishka was killed during a confrontation, but Charlie deliberately leaves Elish to die after getting the information he needs. He is becoming more like the people he hunts. In Primorsk, Charlie finally solves Sarah's puzzle. That timing matters. The physical puzzle is completed just as the larger mystery reaches its final piece. The bear finds Charlie and tries to convince him to stop, but Charlie says home no longer feels like home without Sarah. Soon, Schiller's men capture him and bring him aboard the yacht. Schiller immediately understands Charlie's psychology. He points out that every killing happened from a distance. A chamber, a collapsing pool, a bomb. Charlie creates systems that kill so he does not have to face the victim directly. Schiller hands him a loaded gun. This is the final test. Charlie points it at the man who murdered Sarah, but he lowers the weapon, not because he has forgiven him, because shooting him would be too quick. Charlie has secretly hacked the yacht and redirected it into Finnish waters.
I've taken control of your boat.
Schiller claims that is impossible because the yacht uses CIA encryption. Charlie gives the movie's perfect final answer.
Your own CIA insisted upon it.
Using encryption I wrote.
His watch is transmitting their location through the devices Schiller's men unknowingly carried aboard.
So, I'm the transmitter. You invited me in.
Charlie only needed Schiller to keep talking until they crossed the border.
Just needed you to talk as long as it took to get us here.
Finnish forces and Interpol surround the yacht. Schiller is arrested. The ending reveals that Charlie's transformation was never about learning to shoot. It was about accepting what he already was. A strategist, a hacker, a man who sees invisible connections. Moore and Caleb are arrested after their illegal operations become public. Samantha promises accountability. Though the film leaves one uncomfortable question behind, would the agency have acted without Charlie forcing the truth into the open? Charlie later visits Sarah's grave. Then, Henderson returns.
Who's the Uber driver now?
Charlie credits Henderson's lessons, but Henderson corrects him.
Everything you taught me.
No, what you've done, what you've become? Can't teach that.
In the final scene, Charlie completes the damaged Cessna and takes it into the sky. The plane symbolizes Charlie's grief. At the beginning, both are broken and trapped on the ground. By the ending, neither has returned to its original condition. They have been rebuilt. But the film's hidden message is not that revenge heals trauma. Charlie gets Schiller arrested. Yet Sarah remains gone. His victory cannot undo his final promise or erase the people who died during his mission. Instead, the movie asks whether intelligence without morality becomes another form of violence. Charlie defeats monsters by thinking like them. The difference is that, in the final moment, he still chooses justice over execution. So was Charlie truly protecting Sarah's memory? Or was revenge simply the puzzle he used to avoid accepting her death? And after Gretchen, Mishka, Elish, and Davies, who do you think was the real villain Schiller? The corrupt CIA officials, or the version of Charlie created by grief? The next story proves that sometimes the most dangerous killer is not the person holding the gun, but the person controlling the entire room. More laughs because Charlie appears physically harmless.
I don't think you could beat a 90-year-old nun in an arm wrestling match.
Charlie demands money, intelligence, false identities, and combat training. Moore agrees, but only because he plans to eliminate Charlie after finding the files. Charlie is sent to the farm and placed under Colonel Henderson. His training goes terribly. He cannot fight. He cannot aim. Even standing close to a target, he struggles to hit it. But during explosives training, Charlie immediately understands switches, charges, pressure systems, and timers. This is the first major hidden clue about the ending. The movie does not transform Charlie into a traditional action hero. It reveals that his existing intelligence can be weaponized. Henderson still believes Charlie lacks the most important requirement, the ability to kill face-to-face. He hands Charlie a loaded gun and orders him to point it at his chest.
Point it at my chest! Do it now!
Charlie raises the gun, but he freezes.
Not stupid, not in the slightest. You're just not a killer, Charlie.
Charlie insists he will pull the trigger when the moment arrives. Henderson tells him he will not even remember which end of the gun fires the bullet. That warning becomes the most important piece of foreshadowing in the movie, because Charlie eventually faces Schiller with a loaded gun, and Henderson is proven right. Meanwhile, Moore's team discovers Charlie's hidden disk and breaks the encryption. There is no dead man switch. Charlie was bluffing, but that was part of his real plan. While the CIA followed false clues, Charlie received training, passports, and access to everything he needed. When Moore orders Henderson to kill him, Charlie has already escaped after secretly bugging the files in Moore's office. The agency underestimated him because they measured danger through physical strength. Charlie's strength is preparation. His first target is Gretchen in Paris. He tracks her movements, breaks into her apartment using an online lockpicking tutorial, and takes her gun. When she returns unexpectedly, Charlie has a clear shot, but he cannot fire. Instead, he studies her medical appointment and discovers she suffers from a severe pollen allergy. At the clinic, he traps Gretchen inside a hypobaric chamber and fills it with concentrated pollen.
Tell me where Horst Schiller is and I'll let you out. Because you killed my wife.
Gretchen begins suffocating, but Charlie cannot watch her die. He opens the chamber, proving that Henderson's judgment was correct. Gretchen attacks him, escapes into the street, and is suddenly struck by a van. Her death is accidental, but it changes Charlie. The first time he tries to kill, he stops himself, yet someone still dies. Charlie takes her phone and flees to Marseille, where Henderson tracks him down. Henderson explains that even the smartest plan can collapse when panic takes over. Then, he prepares to execute Charlie. But Charlie has already planted an explosive in the bathroom.
Well, those were good lessons. You're a good teacher, Hendo.
The bomb detonates, and Charlie escapes. This scene shows his transformation. He still cannot defeat Henderson physically, so he predicts Henderson's behavior and controls the environment instead. With nowhere else to go, Charlie contacts Inquiline and is smuggled to Istanbul. There, he discovers that Inquiline is not the Russian man he imagined. She is Davies, the widow of the original source. Her husband was a former KGB officer who became a CIA asset before being murdered. Davies continued using his identity after his death. She and Charlie are connected by the same wound. Both lost their partners to secret organizations. Both responded by burying themselves inside codes, surveillance, and unfinished missions. Davies helps Charlie locate Mishka in Madrid through a tiny reflection inside a social media photograph. That detail proves the movie's central idea again: powerful men are often destroyed by the small things they fail to notice. Mishka regularly swims alone inside a rooftop glass pool. Charlie studies the structure and uses scuba equipment to remove air between the layers of glass. When Mishka enters the pool, Charlie confronts him.
This is a remote that controls a device that's been decompressing the air between the sheets of glass beneath you.
Then he gives him a choice.
So tell me where he is, or swim very fast.
Mishka refuses. Charlie presses the remote. The glass breaks, and Mishka falls from the rooftop. This death is not accidental. Charlie has now deliberately killed a man, but he still does it from a distance, using engineering to avoid direct physical contact.